Hello, folks. Hopefully this is coming through and working fine. Disembodied voice of Ray here, introducing us to the final charity stream of this Roll for Texas campaign, which we just wow. Everyone's generosity has just been ridiculous, and we always come into this like, we'll set the goal at like 200, 300, it'd be great. And then you just come in and kick and just go, screw your stretch goals. It's fine. Yeah, we are utterly humbled to be with such fantastic company every game. And this game is no different. You can see these wonderful people on screen here. We are raising money for Austin Area Urban League, which is a group which helps out specifically marginalized communities with things like shelter, food, and the like. As you might have known, a little while ago, unfortunately, Texas was hit by some pretty dreadful weather, which kind of destroyed a lot of the infrastructure there. So they need some help, and they still need some help even now as things are beginning to calm down. There's still a lot of people who have been displaced, a lot of people without food and shelter and warmth. So anything that you can donate goes towards helping someone get back on their feet and potentially changing their lives. So there is a donation link which will be popping up in chat. It is also on our Twitter account and things like that. Yeah, anything you can spare. I understand that we are still in the middle of this mess, so even a retweet of the donation link or anything like that would be super appreciated. And yeah, thank you to everyone who's already donated. That's all I wanted to say. As you can see, we have a fantastic cast with a fantastic game, so I'm going to hand over to our Game Master B here, and I hope you all have a fantastic time.
Hi, everyone. I am B. I'm one of the two people responsible for this. We made the World of Wyldrvir system last summer as a totally free TTRPG thing. And I keep saying thing at the end of it because it still boggles the mind that I'm still technically doing this. But it's a combat-free, story-driven game. And these amazing people are here to indulge my insanity. So I don't know how we want to do this, because I don't know if I can look at the stream right now. Is our stream call lineup different from our Zoom lineup? I'm terrible at this, but I think we could start by going through and sharing character stuff. I don't know who would want to go first.
Kitty, I'm sorry. I got
On the overlay next to B would be Evie?
Yes.
Sorry, I can't read.
Yeah. I think we all just kind of got distracted by the cat. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
He is being so rude right now. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine.
It's fine. Hey everyone, I know we just said we were gonna do a one shot. Scratch all that. This is watching the cat for a couple of
Yes.
nothing I
It's
would.
adorable.
The people running the stream are just like, what is he doing? What is he doing?
This is Potato Chip. He likes attention.
Good.
He hears the voices.
Okay, well, I guess since I'm immediately first in a American reading order, I'll go first. I'm Evie. I'm playing the Orkin. Why did I just make that up? Orc researcher who is named Lillian. She has bright red hair, green eyes, a greenish pallor of skin color, and she wears a cute pink sort of half cape with a purple dress-ish outfit. Has leggings under it, and she can tie it up so that she can go trompsing around because she's a field researcher, but she likes to look pretty. So it can be a flowy dress when it's not tied up. That way she can get through the brambles. And that is my character in a quick bit.
Nice.
Hi, I'm AJ. I will be playing Denks, the Storm Eidolon. I never know how to pronounce this thing. uh, he is you know, just 5 foot short dude. Half it with a mop of hair. Half of his hair is purple. Half of his hair is blue. He has reddish, pinkish skin with purple eyes. He wears a pale yellow overalls, and his face is extremely dirty except for the areas around where his goggles will be. And he also has a little mechanical owl in his hair called
Good.
Tick. He's basically just a glorified alarm clock, but it's an alarm clock with a personality.
That's precious.
Sounds like my dog.
Hi, I'm Allison. I will be playing Bryony, who is a shade. She's pretty short, very slight, and all people really see of her is she's got this dark purplish, grayish shadow kind of instead of skin. She wears a big hooded cape, and all people can really see is her sharp teeth and golden eyes. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. I play Beryl. They wear pinstripe pants, button-up shirt. They have a blue suit vest and a gold tooth. And most notably, they're a lich. So all skeleton all the time. Has some lithomancy powers, but they're just kind of new. So we get to watch me fail using that a lot.
Nice.
Hi, I am April. I am playing Nessa. She is a Selkie. On land, she is about almost 6 foot tall, kind of pale, almost grayish skin. It's kind of weird. Kind of with some splotches with a gray and dark black hair, and she always has this coat around her.
Nice. I was looking at the stream, so I'm really dumb. I'm not going to get used to this. Anyway, I think before we go into it, I should probably do a very quick explanation of how the game works for the people at home. So everyone, before the game started, picked their race, picked the city-state in our world that they came from, and those two things gave them attributes, which are just things tied to a dice that you can roll with a d20 for like a certain skill. Then you get to pick 5 more of your own based on what you think the personality is like and everything. And that was basically all y'all needed to do. And I really like these characters, especially the variety of creature types in this, if you will. Like the variety in the races is really fun. We have a ghost, a skeleton, an electric elf, an orc, and a selkie. It's just a very interesting bunch. I I do also think that maybe before we start, we should talk about the backpack thing. So everyone has on the character sheet a backpack, which is where you can have up to 5 items. How it's not super important for one shots, but it's fun. So I'm gonna go for it because it's fun and we have time. So this is sort of an icebreaker game / lead into the one shot, which is what are 5 things your character would have in their backpack? The one limit is within reason. The confines of a backpack. That's it. That's the one rule. And you can actually use these items later on in the game. You can actually use these at any point. You just be like, oh, remember when I said I had a fork in my backpack. Well, now it's important. So I think we'll go overlay order again, if that's cool. So if you have any ideas for just assorted things you would like to have in your backpack, you don't have to pick 5, but you can pick up to 5, I guess.
Well, I forgot to do this.
Oh no, it's fine.
So we'll make it up on the spot real quick. I know one thing that I want is I want like collection tools. I want like specimen jars and like baggies to be able to put things in, and like little tiny scissors and tweezers, and you know, a variety of little scalpels or whatever, like just tools for collecting and acquiring things.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
a journal.
Yes.
Yeah, a weatherproof journal. Oh, a stone paper journal. Because those
Okay.
apparently are weatherproof papers. So I will do that.
Okay.
And I don't know what else yet.
That's fine. That's more than enough.
Okay.
If you want to, if you think of something later, go for it. But if that's super fine. The backpack is sort of just a for fun icebreaker to lead into the story
Okay.
with anything. And if they do become important later, then you will blow me away, I guess. Next in the order is AJ.
I'm thinking just like a general toolbox, just like a little tool pack thing.
Mhm.
Lots of gauze to wrap himself in.
Yeah.
A comically large wrench. And a battery with jump cables.
Perfect.
So he can, he sometimes just needs to jumpstart himself. Maybe. I don't know.
Something.
That's
Something.
okay.
I could relate to that, actually. I wish there was a jump cable for that.
Yeah. Allison.
Okay. Well, Bryony is an amateur fortune teller, so she definitely carries a tarot deck. She also loves to cook, so she brings a cast iron skillet with her, like strapped to the outside of her backpack everywhere she goes, as well as some cooking implements. So a few spices, maybe a little bottle of oil, and a spatula or something.
Okay.
And then she's also very into practical effects. So she may have a few little like smoke bombs or smoke pellets.
Perfect. That's not gonna me saying that that's completely okay is gonna bite me in the butt in like 20 minutes. But it's fine. It's fine. Seth.
So 5 items, right?
Yes.
All right. So just like a pin from Cinder, just like that you would get some tourist item that they got from their family. An empty canteen and a flint and steel, because when Beryl set out to be an adventurer, they wanted to get some of the stereotypical adventure stuff, but then they realized they're a skeleton and they don't need water or heat.
Yeah.
And so there's just an empty canteen and an unused flint and steel. And
It'll work for someone.
right? Just in case.
Yeah.
A few loose rocks that they can just carve and practice like the lithomancy with. And I do have this. I didn't know where to put it, so this works. A full helm, just in case they ever need to disguise being a skeleton, because it's not super common everywhere.
Yeah. And lastly, April.
Well, you took my rocks, so it is going to be a rock, but it's like kind of the rock, kind of like a bigger rock, but it's kind of damp and covered in moss, like an ocean rock. One of those, a clam, unopened to clam, big one, not comically, but like, a cartoon clam.
Yeah.
She's also going to have a canteen full of water. She's going to have a lot of water.
An important
Um,
distinction.
Actually, not even just a canteen. You know those big jugs of water?
Yeah.
Yeah, like one of those big jugs in her bag, and a fish.
And a fish.
Yes,
the
there's a
water?
fish swimming around in the jug of water.
Ah, okay.
Oh, okay. I thought you just had a loose fish.
Yeah, just flying
No,
around.
because a loose fish would go bad and start smelling horrible. You got to keep it fresh if you want to eat it later.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's amazing. Okay. So with everyone's backpacks relatively full, ready to go, I will lead us in. So, for those who do not know, which is likely a lot of our audience, hello, people rating us. uh, Wyldrvir is a bit of a different world than the ones you're used to from TTRPGs past. It's a story driven TTRPG with the world being based around the idea that about 2 generations ago, and this is me telling this story to your characters would be the most in one ear out the other we know kind of feeling, so I do apologize. About 2 generations ago, the world changed in an event called the Awakening, and during the Awakening, magic became a thing, really. It went from no magic to suddenly there's so much and no one quite knows how to deal with that. And humans adapted to this new magical world very quickly, becoming a lot of the fantasy races we know today. Uh, just about everyone can tell you some story about the day their uncle turned into a halfling or something. um, uh, and magic in its rawest sense is wild magic. Everyone in Wyldrvir channels that wild magic into something they can use, something like water magic, something tied to nature and the elements. The health of the natural world is directly tied to the power of magic in the world. A healthier ecosystem means better magic for everyone. As a result of that, people kind of cleaned up their acts pretty fast because things like harming the environment would directly tie to not being able to cast cool fireballs. So, people cleaned up their act pretty quick. And by the time we are telling this tale, 2 generations have passed since the Awakening, and the people of Wyldrvir are in a relatively safe and cartoonishly wholesome society where they can go on journeys throughout the world, traveling with friends and discovering things whenever they want. Adventuring is now as common as a break year, basically. Seeing the world with your buddies is as common as just taking a year off of college from your schools and your studies. It could be a summer break, it could be multi-year adventure. Everyone knows that at some point someone's going to take their journey and they'll come back from it a better person. And so we meet a crew of characters who are in the middle of their journey, but they might be somewhere a little different. The main 6 continents, Sindir, Oa, Maritol, Torin, Chardelia, and Innovin, the cities of technology, water, fire, the typical stuff. That's not where this story is set today. Our crew is taking a boat a bit of a ways out to the city of Lamplight, located in a place called the Twisted Bog, which it sounds worse than it is, kind of, sort of. This is basically Halloween Town in our world. This is a bayou sort of setting that has boardwalk homes, swampy marshland, and just a lot of wholesome horror takes. So you have the sky eidolons typically with bird wings now have bat wings. You have the moon eidolons of seafaring, almost merfolk-esque, are a bit more grayed to look more like creatures of the Black Lagoon than merfolk. Everyone here is a little more spooky, and this is the home of the shades and the liches. So for a few of you, this is probably more of a return home than a new leg of your journey, but for others, a completely new place. For those from mainland Wyldrvir, this is this is your first time going off continent. This is kind of intense for y'all. But for certain people, this is just coming home. And I think we will open on that, like the last leg of that boat ride, as you are all prepping to end up in the city.
So Bryony, you're from here, right? And it's safe.
Of course.
Okay, cool. I trust that.
Mostly.
Mostly.
Yes. Just yes. Yes. Right? Yes.
Do you three trust her on this?
I'm sure it's fine.
Well, I look up from my book that I was writing in. What was the question? What happened?
We're almost there, and Bryony was telling us how safe it was.
I know I have to finish writing this down. Go back to my book.
I mean, I'm from here too. I haven't spent much time on the surface, but it's home.
Isn't there like a train here or something? I feel like
Rain.
there's a train in Lamplight.
Yeah, the metro.
We're gonna
That's-
go riding the metro.
If we want to go to the metro, that's more home to me. So
Oh, I would love to ride the metro.
Can I take a piece of the metro?
How far inland is the metro? I get really uncomfortable the farther inland we get.
I'm not sure. Like I said, I just hopped a train, went wherever it took me.
How big?
Just kind of lives in the trains.
We can do the train. We can visit shops. We can. I really need to restock on some of my stuff. Actually, there's this cool like magic shop.
Ooh,
I think you'll like it.
I can't wait. Is there anything really dangerous that lives in this waters that I need to look out for?
So like there's a sailor kind of leading you guys through, and they're just like in the water. You could just hear them like kind of musing to themselves about that, like, so long as so long as you don't mess with them.
I don't like that.
What are they? Tell me about them. I want to know everything.
Well, the scariest thing we got are the verdant gators.
Ooh,
Fun.
I want to make friends with them.
I like that word.
The verdant gators are alligators, except they have moss and stuff growing on their backs.
They sound so.
So alligators.
And also we have the bog bellowers, which are they're not too bad. They're just loud.
Okay.
The bog bellowers are a weird mix of like a catfish and like a frog. The one thing about them is that if you anger them, they will not attack. They will just scream. And their screams and their whole body basically acts as a big speaker / bass.
I
So
love them. I
they-
love them so much.
they can and will. You remember that scene in the Star Wars prequels where the bomb goes off and they do the really cool VFX of it being silent for a second and then it gets so loud and blows up stuff? Think like that, but like less. And coming from the mouth of a giant catfish frog thing.
So I'm gonna turn to Bryony and Beryl and ask, "Can you take us to see these things? Because I want to see them."
If you want, I
Oh,
don't know why.
I can see if I can find one.
You can just do that here on the ship.
I'm gonna look at my bag.
I mean, they said they
Watch-
were in the water, right? We could
Wa-
just
wa-
start chucking rocks in, see what comes up.
That's rude. Don't throw rocks in someone's house.
And it sounds kind of fun.
I mean, okay, it is fun, but still rude. Watch Charles. I'll be right back. And at that, Nessa's going to jump in the water fully dressed. And as she does this, you kind of, as soon as she hits the water, kind of forget that she jumped overboard / don't realize she jumped overboard / there's a seal there now and you don't really know how that happened.
Oh, are those native here?
And I'm going to go look for, I guess I'm not going to look, but I'm just going to make sure around our boat is safe and see if anything's around.
Since these are all typically swamp creatures, the actual ocean part is less appealing to them than further inland where you get the swampy water and everything. So at this point, you're seeing more familiar things to like Maritol, just like the bigger fish that you're used to. And there's nothing too different, but you are noticing the like change in color from like the like deep blues of the ocean. And it's starting to get that like murky, purpley green. You know, it's like it's pretty in its own right, but you also know it's like it's getting towards like bog kind of swamp water, which you probably may not have encountered before. So it's definitely a little different.
Cool. I'm going to swim around with the boat as it's going into the harbor. I'm just going to stay in the water until it docks.
Yeah, this is comfortable for you. Meanwhile, for everyone else, you are getting towards the dock. And give me a moment to describe that. I have something written. I just need to find it. Right. So this is a wooden dock, like just sort of a wooden boardwalk at the edge of like a very small island. Surrounding it are other land masses that look like they were once maybe as big, if not bigger, than this island you're approaching, but have just like whole entire sections of them have sunken into the sea. And Nessa would get a different angle of this as they start to get closer, they'd start noticing bits of land are completely submerged. There's like trees under the water and like once houses just completely submerged in this bog stuff. And it's like, it's not, they're so old now that this is definitely not recent, if that makes sense. This is like, these happened like tens of hundreds of years ago and no one's just taken the time to clean them up, you know? But it does give you weird, like, not exactly, but close to the vibe of like a ship graveyard kind of a feeling, you know? So it's a little ominous on the entry, I will admit. And I will toss in the various chats maps of Lamplight. There, as you come across this wooden dock, it's a very small place that leads further and further into Bogland, but it does seem to be very like rustically homey. It is got like bright neon, not neon, but like bright greens and pinks and other purple colors. Very Mardi Gras coloration, very festive. Sort of, someone said earlier like Adventureland, is it like that section of Disney World or Disneyland? Like that section, kind of that energy, yeah. Just a big bayou sort of look. And just sort of standing there watching this boat come in there's not like a strong expression on this person's face. They don't seem too pleased or too upset. It's just very like, oh, okay. Is a very gray toned moon idol on, who just kind of, they don't look annoyed, just very like flat. Just very, you know, and they like kind of guide the boat drivers to come into a certain point and then they dock and they're just from a very quiet, almost ghostly voice, just, all right, that should be good. And just kind of takes 2 steps away back to the little boathouse. And like they are in complete clash with the bright energy of everything else in this town. Like everything else looks like it's ready for a party, and this one dude just looks just ready for bed. And the sailor, a little halfling, just kind of goes like, well, you should be good. Don't know how long you're planning on sticking around, but you know.
I just Thank you, sailor. And I pick up Nessa's bag and start marching off the boat.
Gonna like kind of angrily nod and follow.
Like Beryl's gonna lag back just a bit, and then when everybody's sort of gotten a little bit further away, chuck a rock into the bayou.
At that point, Nessa pops out of the water and like hops onto the deck. Like you see a seal just like as fast as possible just hop out of the water. And she just kind of superhero lands a little bit on the deck. That's rude. And she's going to walk away.
I choose to believe that she got bonked by that rock, and that's how she. That's how she knows. It's just like a rock hit her on the head. She's like, oh. What about Lillian? What are they doing now that they've hit the shore?
So like I've put my book away, my notebook, my journal away, because I don't have anything else to catalog at the moment. And so I'm just like wide-eyed looking at all the decorations. And I'm probably bothering, I guess, Bryony at this point, because they're the one that didn't stay behind and are from here, with questions about, is there a festival? What kind of festival? Is this like an all the day, everyday thing, or like a once in a year thing? Like what's going on? Is this normally how it looks here?
Do I know?
No, you're good. You're good. It's always so. Lamplight is weird. They're in a very dark area of the world. Just the feel of it is very cryptic and spooky. So as a result, the town itself is naturally very upbeat feeling and bright to try and offset a little bit. Depending on who you ask, either works or clashes in an uncomfortable way, admittedly. So like this level of cheer in terms of the lighting and everything, that's always. But there are festivals that happen. There are different parties, and you think it kind of strikes you that you might be in time for one. Maybe you're like a day or two early or something. You can't really remember, you know?
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always, but like, there's probably a festival or something. I don't know. There's always a festival. There's one like once a month. Guess we'll see. What did you want to see?
I don't know everything.
There's a festival?
There's always a festival, isn't there?
Denks, Beryl, we're gonna party!
I am gonna find so many scraps.
Yes!
I mean, I'm going to party too, but scraps.
Hey, the more people party, the less stingy they are with their scraps.
Sure.
No, I don't know. I'm now confused.
I'm stealing that as a saying now.
It now is the saying.
It is now is a saying.
What about Beryl? You may not really have that many memories of the surface level of this town, so it might be a little bit new for you.
Yeah. No, I'm just taking it in, looking at all the different lights and stuff, trying to see if I can't spot anything that looks like a giant catfish just moving below the surface.
Not at the moment, but the other thing I think you might know just off the top of your head is like roundabouts where your home is in comparison to the town. You know that towards the very edge of town, there is a house and a candy shop right next to each other. And if you go a little past the candy store, there's like, it looks like a sewer grate, but it's actually the entranceway to the metro. It's just blended in very weirdly. The people of this place and aesthetics do not exactly go hand in hand. They live in literal Halloween town, and they're trying to make it like marketable. Like they're not doing the best job. Just it's a little weird here. I will not lie to you. So as you guys sort of start to get off the boat, though, you are greeted by a much more cheery face than the one who you first encountered. And how we'll do this, because I like this character a lot, uh, is we're going to start with Denks. You get tapped on your shoulder, just out of nowhere.
I turned to whichever shoulder
It was
I got
def-
tapped
it
on.
was the left shoulder. Just got poked. Yeah.
Turn over my left shoulder.
You do not see anything, but in the time that it takes for you to turn around, Nessa is poked on their right shoulder. And Bryony, I think you specifically could maybe roll something that has to do with like perception/investigation, because I think you might be able to figure out what's going on.
I have high senses.
Oh, okay. You might also be able to pick that up. Yes. I will allow it because high senses specifically would tie into another aspect of what they're doing. So perfect.
So we roll a d20, correct?
It's a d20 plus the dice for your attribute. So if you have a d12, it's a 20 and the 12.
Would eye for detail help?
I'll allow it because I feel bad not letting everyone roll.
My total was a 28.
You heard chuckles as you turned around, running in like the opposite direction, and they got like fainter and fainter.
My total is 14.
You felt like you heard footsteps because you are in like a boardwalk, so like the steps are wood, so you can hear like the crunching, the crinkling and moving of the boards. It's like you did hear something too. It wasn't just the touch and then silent. What about Bryony though?
I don't know what I would roll. I don't have an actual attribute that's like a.
The sense sort of thing. Maybe just roll a d20 then. That's totally fine. If you don't have an attribute
Okay.
for it, you can totally.
I mean, I've clairvoyance, but
I don't. It's currently happening now.
right, it's not.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I rolled a 16 though.
You know a shade prank when you see one.
Okay.
So as people are being poked and dotting around, you kind of like resign to like, oh right, I'm not the only one who could pull those kinds of tricks here, And as you get poked in the shoulder, and it's weird for you because as you know of being a shade, everyone only sees your like shadow outcropping /visage,
Mhm.
This poke, like you sense it not on like the shadow covering, but like your actual shoulder hidden underneath feels like it has been poked. And as you kind of spin around, you see them differently than everyone else does. So I will describe what Bryony sees, and then I will describe what everyone else sees. Bryony, you see another little girl, probably 15, 16 years old, very pale, dark black hair, one brown eye, one black eye. And she has like her hands to her face, and she's kind of like looking down and giggling.
Do I recognize her?
You might actually. This is Oakley. She is the town's spy master. A title she got by being a general snoop, and now sort of uses that pointedly for the other townsfolk in exchange for slices of pumpkin pie. Give her pie, she gives you information. That's how she functions.
Got it.
As for everyone else, though, you all see like a walking, moving shadow, which isn't as scary for you all because you know Bryony. So like you could kind of tell that Bryony being there may have offset this prank a little bit. like they were expecting to completely scare you, and for a second they like tried to pull off their shadow to have like 6 arms and 2 heads, and they kind of eye Bryony and just like, oh right, and just kind of slink back down to like the shadow of a human girl, and just kind of goes like, well, that would better in my head.
That's a way to welcome me home.
Just kind of like arms crossed and looking off to the side. Just like, well, look, I didn't know what boat you were on, and so I saw people and I did my usual thing.
I noticed.
You're doing a very good job at stealthing. Also, hello everyone. My name is Oakley. It is nice to meet you. And then she like uses her shadowy movement to kind of like glide to the side of Beryl and put like their hand on your shoulder as if you're best friends for years. Just kind of goes like, if you need information on someone, I can get it to you. Does like a little spin and then puts her arm on Lillian's shoulder and kind of like leans like this. And it's just like, that is if you want that kind of information, of course. But I work for a price. Her shadowy form does like a bit of a flip in the air, lands on the ground, and just recorporates. She just goes like, so if you find pumpkin pie, you know where to bring it. And she just kind of vanishes off at that point.
Only pumpkin. Oh.
Is it just people?
She reappears between you two and just goes like, pumpkin pie is preferred and will get you better information because I have a bias and I can give you information on things, but people is my specialty.
What about creatures?
That's
Okay.
She kind of like has the sigh of like, you can't get gossip on creatures.
We're not talking about the same level of information between the two of
No.
us.
It depends if you speak the creature's language. All creatures have gossip.
There's a blink and she just goes like, and how would you know that? And like her shadow head just kind of like does the slow horror tilts to your side from the shadow. But Bryony just sees a little girl like excitedly look over like possible, and
You
She
just
can-
talk to them?
and you know how.
Well, I just talk to some things and they respond. Uh-oh. I blew her mind.
You blew her mind and she dissipated.
She's like,
you just be nice and talk to people and are polite and they tend to tell you things, and creatures too.
I think it's the creatures part. She's like, you can talk to creatures? It's a
Well,
whole
since-
new world of gossip.
Since we have been traveling together, you would know that I could.
Yeah.
I have the best superpower in the world. I can speak to fish.
Oh my God. I made you talk to so many fish on the ride over.
Yes. I am a Selkie. He's like, you can have powers. I'm like, I would like to speak with fish, please.
I was there. I can attest to that.
that was the most exciting thing. I'm like, I need to speak with fish. I'm a Selkie. I go seal human. I need fish.
Beryl's just trying to get you to get the fish to hold still so they can carve them.
Yeah. Well, Charles.
I liked
who-
it too because I wanted to draw and sketch them. And then made you ask a million questions.
Charles, who's in my bag in the bottle, is a friend of ours.
Nice.
I mean, I
That's
just
just how he
wanted,
travels.
I just wanted to cook them, but okay.
This is why this is Charles the Fourth.
Oh no!
Bryony has
Sorry, but
has
I'm not.
eaten all three of those fish. All three of those.
Have you seen what happened to Charles? Oh, he ran away in the night. Oh. Rude.
Boat ride got long, you know.
Sorry.
No, sorry.
It's like that instance where the hamster the next morning is a different shade of orange.
Yeah. You don't look like Charles. I'm not Charles. You are now.
So sorry.
It's fine. We reestablished additional bonding that we did on the boat.
Wonderful. Perfect. So back to Oakley kind of giving the eyes emote at Nessa's meth thing there. Just, you know how to speak to animals?
Well, I speak to fish and the fish creatures and the water creatures. You just kind of talk to them and be nice to them and they respond usually.
That's a very interesting power. That is very lucrative for my purposes. And she's just kind of like mulling on that. She goes, I will think on this.
Well, if you want any deep sea gossip, I will take cherry pie.
Are you telling? She just kind of paused and she goes, I respect you. I respect your business. And then she's kind of goes like, all right, so since I am apparently the welcoming committee, be thankful for that. It could have been taffy. It could have been way worse. So as the welcome, You don't want to mess with that kid. If you since I'm the welcoming committee and clearly the best option, what are you all looking for?
Everything.
Everything.
I was
everything?
told that there was a fish frog that will scream.
That. And mossy alligators.
Yes.
And a party?
Yeah, festival?
Yeah, that's tonight. And then just kind of turns to Bryony and just goes, "You didn't come back just for the party, did you?"
No.
No, she didn't. She definitely didn't even know there was going to be a party tonight.
Well, fair enough.
And trains.
And the what?
Trains. I point to Beryl and I say, he said there were trains.
Oh, the station. Yeah, that's a new thing. Yeah, I could show you where that is. She just kind of thinks about it and just goes, "I can point it out to you. I don't know if I'm necessarily down to tour guide all day. I have some things I gotta get done."
Oh, I mean, we can probably.
I can take
something
us.
by ourselves.
You could take me.
You
to
can
the
get
sta-
there.
These two are from here. We're
Oh,
great.
perfect.
No need to take up your entire day.
Oh, she just kind of like, her shadow just kind of takes on like the cartoon running like feet thing, and just in mid motion just kind of goes like, "Well, I am on the go all the time, so I gotta keep moving." If you do want to see some of the weirder creatures like those gators and stuff, though, the best person to talk to is Rhea. She also goes by the witch. Can't miss her. Big ominous spooky house at the edge of town. She will definitely help you. May ask you for something in return. She's nice, I promise. She's nice, just a little. She's very interested in her work, shall we say. It's not bad, I promise you. I'm making it sound mad sciencey, but that's just because, well, it's way more fun for you all to learn what it is on your own. Besides, like you said, two of your own people came from here. They should know exactly what I'm talking about. Bye now. And she just vanishes again.
You have interesting
She's
friends.
not bad. I wouldn't call her a friend.
Oakley is infamous in this town. She is the town gossip and she's 16 years old. So put those things together.
The town often smells of pumpkin pie just because everybody needs to pay.
I want to know if there's some secret hatred between her and Beryl, because she didn't really acknowledge Beryl from being from here or anything. So I feel like there's some like shady backstory.
Shady.
Thanks.
I can explain that one actually pretty simply. The metro, the liches come from the metro area of Lamplight under the ground. That was a pretty recent development. So it's very likely that Oakley can acknowledge that they are likely from here, but because the people above just discovered the below recently, they may not have history. So it might be like,
Well, then
You know what
she's
I
not
mean?
a very good gossip.
no, she is still a child.
Touche, sir. Touche. We are children.
She's just a gossip girl.
Wow.
So, with that all done, Bryony and Beryl, you guys do know some locations and places. I will definitely tell you those as they arrive. But the question is in the air of what first.
So we go to this lady who will show us where all the animals are, and then we invite them to the party tonight.
Beryl has
I like
a
that.
very personal mission to throw a rock at one of those frogs.
Don't throw rocks at frogs. It's rude.
Can't say there won't be rocks thrown. It's just a promise that I can't make.
I won't throw a rock at the frog. I will find a different way to make it angry.
Can't argue with that yet.
I've not figured it out myself.
I feel like if we just walk up to it, it will get angry.
We'll see.
Most creatures don't like it when you get into their personal bubble space.
Ooh. All right, I have an idea now.
Oh no.
Can you wait to make it angry until I've definitely got all the other information that I want from it, and then trigger its angerness so that I can study how it's doing the big
Oh
screen
yeah, for
thing
sure,
it does?
for sure.
Perfect.
It'll be a timed event.
Oh, well now for science, I guess it's different.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll just see what they do when rocks are thrown. At
Rocks
them.
for science.
How many times in our journey has my accidentally turning a thing into science made people who are like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do that, change their mind?
100% of the time you say that something is for science, Beryl has thrown a rock at it.
Oh, for sure.
That
It
is
didn't-
just there.
It did not
You
go
say
through-
science, Beryl says rock. It's
It was a very interesting time when you went into the mines. That was a very weird day.
We're
there's
not
a lot
allowed
of
back in the
rocks.
science museum.
Listen, the Emberhold Library in Sindir knows your faces.
Oh God.
These are
Yep.
priceless artifacts, but consider.
Consider this rock
But what if?
for science.
Consider the following.
Okay.
One
De-
day we'll
de-
get Beryl to throw
definitely-
something other than a rock.
Lillian has definitely made us honorary researchers.
Honorary.
Well, for sure, you guys are so good at helping me
Researchers.
collect information on different things. This is great.
She's
Or
now able to write the most famous book on angered animals.
Right? It's just what animals are like when they're calm, what animals
Rocks
are like when
and
they're
everything
angry.
else in the world.
Everything. The guide to rocks for
What happens when you throw a rock?
a biography.
An autobiography.
My memoirs.
Turns out my journal is actually just documenting everything that Beryl does.
My memoirs to throw a rock.
But how about a rock? A lich's story.
I'd buy that book.
Stop making me want a cinema. Crows in the chat, they'll kill me.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So old
So-
lady, animals, party.
Yes. Okay.
Then
So
Bryony looks around and says, or we could go to the candy store.
Wait, what?
And see the trains that are behind it.
Yeah.
I vote for the
We can-
candy store.
Or
We could
just
go to
get
the trains.
candy?
I vote for the candy store.
Is the candy different here? It's probably different here.
I mean, you have to find out. Every place has a special regional candy that's only made there. And so you have to experiment and try it.
I need a piece.
that's not incorrect.
I need a
There's-
piece. I need to capture a piece.
We need
Yeah.
candy for science.
Yes.
The animals
How?
might like candy.
How
Ooh,
likely?
we can lure them. Oh, we can get rock candy.
The name of the one-shot rock candy.
Rock candy
That's
for
actually the,
science.
Oh,
the
God.
specialty for this location is rock candy.
Rock candy for
See-
science.
Rock candy feels like it should be the literal town in the mountains candy, but
True.
that doesn't mean that there isn't rock candy here.
Imported.
Imports.
Rock
It's-
candy.
Well, we're
Yeah.
near the ocean. Do they have sea salt ice cream or like
Oh, they absolutely have. This is Halloween town. There's all the sweets.
yes.
Everybody's talking about all this like fun food and candy and ice cream and stuff. Beryl's just thinking about the fact they can't taste or eat food.
Oh,
Oh no.
they are in fact all bone.
Mhm.
And then
All
we can
bone.
get chocolate and we could get caramel and we could get chocolate and caramel and we could get Bill, you're gonna love the candy apples.
I have a
Just-
feeling that Lillian has definitely over seasoned food just to see if Beryl would react to it.
And like,
For
Ruin
like
science.
my recipes.
For science.
yes, like
For
I
science.
will intercept the portion that's going to Beryl so that nobody else has to necessarily deal with that. Although maybe in the beginning I thought, oh, just all of it. And everybody else was like, what have you done?
Well, because you had to try it on all of us first.
Yes.
Because also, how
Baseline.
does a Selkie do it? How does
Right.
But
And I also
does-
just needed a baseline to make
Yeah.
sure that everybody was definitely able to detect the seasoning.
does Beryl eat at all?
No stomach.
But do you pretend?
Yeah, I like to think that they, you allot a portion and they take it and it just like goes into their clothes. And then when everybody's gone, they just pitch it overboard.
We put a
Oh,
jar.
gosh.
We have a jar.
Yeah.
It just falls into the jar and you just dump it out at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
So,
good.
I have good news.
Oh.
Oh,
The witch's house is right next to the candy shop.
of course.
Beautiful.
This is
The Hansel and Gretel situation.
Well,
Is it?
then we could go to
Oh,
the
no.
candy shop, get candy to take to the witch because we have to come with something. You can't just show up to someone's house without a present, and then get extra candy to take to the animals.
Candy
Yeah.
is the solution to all of the things that we want.
Candy.
The answer is candy. Yes. So, making your way through because the house is like a little bit, if just a little off the main town. Making your way through the main road, you are kind of just getting the energy of this place. It is a very rustic town. There's a tree in the center of everything instead of like a pavilion or anything. There's farms, a lot of farms. It looks like right in the distance you could see a big pumpkin farm, which is really cute. And you could actually see an older shade with like the little straw hat and like just a rake, just like taking care of their pumpkins. Bryony would know that is Juniper. They're just very nice. They are chronically soft old man. Their wife Saffron actually runs the Monster Helper Guild here. She's a badass human, I think halfling actually, a badass halfling woman who tames all the monsters and rides around in a sick wheelchair. And as you make your way a little out of the main town, there's a park that has like one of those like gazebos in it, and there's a fae in like the brown autumnal leafage and everything growing around them, and they're like tuning a guitar, just kind of like they look like a 20-year-old rocker dude who plays out of a gazebo in the park. Their name is Bramble.
Damn this, sir, get a job.
And you could just kind of hear them tuning up for the night's performance as you make your way down. You get to like a part where the bayou water is much higher up, and it's a very thin path of like marshy land to keep moving. No need to roll. It's not that bad. It's just your feet might get wet. And you make it to how? Huh?
I will stop and open a tiny jar I have and collect some of that water, and then label it where it has come from, where I've collected it from, and put it back in my backpack.
Yep. Absolutely.
Gonna microscope that later.
And you see eventually two buildings right next to each other. One that just looks like a very nice cottage, and one that is a eyesore. It is a like bright pink walled establishment with like big bright spinny things that look like mints, and like just very much trying to make the building look like candy. And fireworks come out of the chimney, and you're not quite sure how that just happened. That's probably not okay. And then you just hear a voice from the inside just go like, meant to do that. And you would see a sign that says this place is named the Sweet Tooth.
So that one is definitely the witch's house.
Yes,
The
I was
cottage is the
thinking
candy
that as
shop.
well.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't be sure, but
Safe guess.
That's my safe guess. Now let's go into the candy shop.
Yeah. We're a bunch of kids in a candy shop. It's gonna be insanity about to happen.
so you step. Okay, I need to know. This is very important. Are you guys sticking to your in-character guns on which one was which, or are you like, was that an in-character bit?
Oh, that
That was a
Okay.
joke.
that was.
Okay.
I feel like
no,
the
we're
candy
good.
store would have a window and you could see the candy.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're right. I just wanted to see how far you were gonna take your.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But
We burned it down.
Just like
We don't
obviously,
never make it inside.
obviously, this is the candy store. Let's go in. Opens the door of the cottage. Like, like,
Where's the candy, old lady?
yeah, yeah. Inside is there's a child. They look not much older than you all. They are red haired with black eyes, kind of pale skin, a huge oversized black wizard hat, like a big purple cape, and like a gray shirt that has the Sweet Tooth's logo on it, which is just the words the Sweet Tooth. This child does not know branding. And they're like holding a tray of candies, and they see you all and they put it down and it's tottering, and they go, oh, and then they slightly tap it and it stays on the thing. And they're just like, hi, and they do like the chill lean thing, and there's no wall there. And they just kind of like lose their balance, and they kind of regain it, put their hat back on, and say, hi.
Hello. This is a fine establishment you have.
Thank you. They're just like, I'm very proud of it, cracks their knuckles, and just like, so what kind of candy do you all want?
wait,
And
you run this place?
Of course I do. Bryony specifically. Beryl might actually have this one because this is far closer to your region. The inside would go maybe less, but this you might know. You both know that this is Taffy. This is the child who Oakley warned you about. They're just like, of course I run this place. What else would I do with my time? Study?
Oh, that's perfect then. I would like to know all the candies that are specific and regional to just here. Maybe even made just by you and no one else.
Well, I don't make them, I just sell them.
Oh, well, do you get any that are just from made around here?
Oh yeah, no, I get them from next door.
I look at the group and I'm like, maybe we're in the wrong place.
She's like, she makes them, I just sell them. I'm just a pretty face for the marketing.
We should probably skip the middleman and just go to the supplier then.
Hey, if you want to bother Rhea, that's up to you. I do it enough on a daily basis.
I think this might destroy our plan to get candy and take it to her.
They just kind of chuckle and are just like, oh, you want to give her candy? That's fine. Here, if you want to do that. They kind of like start looking around and they hand you like an unwrapped like little red gobstopper thing. Like, it's totally not the spicy ones that she hates.
Well, we don't have insight, so I believe him. That is a skill.
I mean, technically, anything you can ask to try anything. If you don't have a skill for it, you can just roll a 20. You have a chance to succeed at everything. But Bryony and Beryl, though, you both know a little bit about this kid. Taffy is the apprentice of the witch, technically, apprentice in massive air quotes. They kind of asserted themselves as their partner one day, and rather than deny Taffy, they kind of played along, and now they run this candy shop. When they're not here, which is like 90% of the time, actually, they are just making general mischief and causing problems and making pranks. This is their little bit of stability in their otherwise flying broomstick laced insanity that is Taffy's day to day. So if they tell you to go left, you go right, is kind of the general wisdom of this town. And the thing is, Taffy knows no one trusts them, and they like it that way.
Fair.
They just kind of like hand Lillian the gobstopper, and they're just like, unless of course you want to go empty-handed.
Well, no, but it seems redundant to take candy back to the candy maker.
candy making's only part of her job. She makes the candy, she makes potions, she makes basically a lot of things. She's very good at different things. They kind of pause, like, you know, like comparatively. Like they threw her a compliment and they needed to adjust. They're just like, they're skilled. That's why I work with them. I only learn from the best because one day I'm going to be the best mage, obviously.
Bryony's ignoring everything he's saying and is just perusing the shelves looking for her favorites.
I feel like I got one of those little bags and I'm filling it with different.
Yeah, exactly.
You had to go through a few that had false bottoms first, just because that's the way this kid operates. Like you put like a couple things in, and the bag just went like whoop, and then onto the floor, and
That's his
Taffy-
product he's wasting. That's on him.
Oh yeah, no. The thing is, every time it happens, Taffy laughs like it's the funniest thing in the universe. Like this might annoy everyone else, but it makes them happy.
I'm gonna lean over to Beryl. If that happens again, you can pull out a rock.
Oh, God. Yeah, Beryl pulls out a rock for sure. And then leans over to Taffy and goes, so do you have any rock candy?
They look at your rock and just go like, I can take your rock and make it candy.
Yes.
They
Yes.
grab your rock, go to like something on the counter, grab a thing of sugar, and just onto your rock. And like then just kind of like try and coat the whole rock with sugar, and then grab like gummy bears and put it on top. And then they're just like, I'm creating a candy that could kill anything. The amount of caloric intake in this one special candy might be able to knock out even the most powerful of creature. This will be my opus. And they walk away and grab some gummy worms.
Do I get it when they're done?
Oh, they're giving it to you.
Yeah. Well, I'm writing down poison death candy.
Rock. Poison,
Your
death candy, rock.
Rock.
They're like, the thing is, you can tell that this is all their product that they sell. They're just piling it on this rock because you told them to give them a candy rock, and now they're just messing with you.
The way Beryl puts it away, though, is just stares Taffy in the eyes and eats it.
They watch, and they're just like at first it's like the same stare down, and then eventually their eyes widen slowly and just like, you know, I'm incredibly impressed. And they're just kind of like look at you and just go like, you're not all bones, right? Like you tasted that, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Are you wearing clothing?
Yeah, I am definitely wearing.
They buy it 100%. They're just
Yeah.
like, well, if you weren't, that would be a much more uncomfortable experience than it would be if you did have anything else.
Yeah, it's not just sitting in my clothes right now.
I don't want to think about how that would feel, like the gummy worms and then the sugar. Ew.
If you'll I'll be right back. The unrelated.
Unrelated note, yeah. You walk out and they're just kind of like, well, that was weird.
Do you leave a sugar trail behind?
Yeah, just grains on the floor.
Comes out one pant leg.
Yeah. They're one, oh, I've heard of sugar skeletons before, but I think that's the wrong holiday. They just kind of turn around and just like, anyway, if you want local candy, for some reason, everyone here likes candy corn. I don't understand it, but they like it here. That's sort of our, for some reason, our biggest thing. We make a big deal out of having various candies. Everyone loves the houses that give you the king-sized candies, but those cost more. It's totally not a social hierarchy thing.
Wait, houses will just give you candy?
If you spook them when you show up at their door.
When does this happen? Just randomly?
Beryl!
Around the festival, actually, which is they look at a non-existent watch. Oh, I guess that is kind of today, isn't it? And they're laughing in the sense of like, I may have been holding you up here so that way other people could get candy. Oh, I guess that is today. They just kind of go like, guess you're running out of time to collect on that candy promise, huh? Even though it's mid-afternoon, everyone always puts out the good stuff first, obviously. They're like swinging their arms on a little stool. I mean, their legs. They're swinging their legs on this little stool that they're sitting on. They're just kind of like, Bryony, and Beryl is out of the room, and I'll touch on you in a moment, Beryl. Bryony, you know this kid. You know that when they're this happy, something is very wrong. Like, they don't get delighted like this when they're not pulling something.
Is there any like liquid, like sticky candy, like on a shelf near me?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
I'm gonna grab some of that, like a little tube or whatever, and I'm gonna kind of fade, like the shadow form's gonna fade, and I'm gonna try to slip it into this kid's pocket, just sticky mess into his pocket.
Okay, roll stealth.
That's my D12, man.
No, I know.
That is 13 plus 1. Wow. 14.
So you do manage to get it in there, and they keep talking to the others as you do this, and you're like, haha, I'm in the clear, you know? And you kind of start moving back and trying to recuperate where you were, and you just see them like casually pull out one of the sugar stick things like you would find from like a forgetting what the name of the candy is. They give you like a
pixie stick?
Yeah. They just pull out one of those and just kind of put it in their pocket and immediately start eating it that way. It's just like, damn it. Unsanitary.
They just invented Fun Dip.
Yeah, unsanitary, but somehow this kid caught on. Like, the fact that they had to do that is a little funny in and of itself, but like it's not as funny as it could have been, you know?
That's fair.
And like they're kind of like staring you dead on as they do this, like, I saw you. And they're just like, glad to see that nothing's changed. What? I don't. You know, it's. They seem like the more you're giving, like mean mugging them, the more they seem to like deflate a bit. Like they were top of the world, and now they're being shown negative like results of they're showing consequences of their actions, and they're just like, oh no. Like, this is still a child having fun. And they're just like, they hand you like a bag of candy corn, Lillian. They're like, this is the normal candy around here. Everyone, also chocolate. We do a lot of chocolate.
Perfect.
There you go. You're supposed to be nice to people, remember?
But what is kindness without a little fun? You all had fun, right?
What is kindness but pranks persevering?
Exactly. See, they get it. They just kind of like put their hands on their heart, and they're just like, you must be a real hoot in your hometown.
And at that point, tick comes out of my hair. My clock owl.
They just kind of look at Bryony and they're just like, you didn't tell me that your friends were significantly more fun. And they just turn to all of you and they're like, I can say that. We're buds. I legally can say that. We've known each other for longer. And then they turn around and just like, that's how that works, right?
No.
So is the witch home right now?
Again, when you say no, just deflate a bit. Just
That's why I'm doing it.
Oh no, I know. You're getting some joy out of knocking this child down a couple pegs. And they're just like, yeah, no, she's home. As a matter of fact, I can holler for her if you want. They open a side door and just kind of open it a little and just go, hey, boss, you have guests. And then boom. And then she's just like, she should be waking up any minute now. It's fine. This is her normal. It's about her wake up call time. It's like, what, 2 in the afternoon? Yeah, it's about time.
I mean, it's probably better
Like-
for Taffy to wake her up than us. So
Oh, no, exactly. That's why this door was built in the first place. And you just hear like a voice through the door that's just like, you little. And like, and she's just like, she's awake now. And then just kind of was like, you may want to go in through the front door though. You know, make it look like a coincidence.
gotcha.
Oh, by the way, one other thing I do want to try. Ever since we got a shipment of certain sap from the city seat of Torin, I've been working on something. They hand you put like a couple gum balls on the desk and like a little case. They're all cleanly stored and everything. They're just like, if anyone wants to try them, of course.
One's already in my mouth.
Yeah, I'll pick one up, but I inspect it. Like
I'm
do
already.
a good
I'm chewing.
check of it.
You
lick
can
it.
roll. You can roll something like if you have something like observationalist or something like in that range, observation to like magical, like anything about like observing / learning from things. Denks,
Endless
meanwhile,
curiosity.
perfect. Denks, roll a d20.
Oh boy, here we go.
Wow.
That is a nat 20.
Roll a d20 2 more times.
2 more times? Oh, no.
Roll a 20. Oh, actually, sorry, my bad. Wrong thing. Roll only a d6. Wrong table.
Oh, okay.
As for Lillian, what did you roll?
I rolled a 28 total.
There is definitely magic on these, and it is probably some sort of wild magic surge.
That is a 4.
So, Denks, you eat this gum bomb. As soon as you start chewing, you turn to your shadow, and it like instead of doing nothing, like the standing passively, it waves at you. Everyone else can see it wave.
So I take this, which I've determined has magic, and instead of eat it, I watch the one who ate it. And as Denks gets waved up by their shadow, I put it in the bag with the candy corn and then make a note about what the thing does.
You as you do that, you see like this gumball have like purpley, weirdly dark magic start to like spread into the candy corn, and them start to like have that same residual stuff appearing. As for you, Denks, when you just Taffy starts giggling, they're just like, it is proximity. Okay, that answers my question. Okay, so they kind of like, I guess I owe you an explanation.
Probably. Yeah.
You aren't gonna die. I promise. You'll be fine. Your shadow will go back to normal in like an hour or something. It's a well-known side effect. As you all know, and out of nowhere, they just pull down a canvas as if this child has been like studying this specific thing for ages. Like, and pull, like, they have from under their desk, they pull out the little like pointing stick, you know, and they just kind of point. As you know from being mainlanders, all of stuff. Not if there's any animosity, I'm just messing with you. Actually, I should make that clear. They point. They're just like, mainland Wyldrvir has the normal wild magic surges whenever your magic doesn't channel right, or you know when you cause it on purpose. Around here, though, our magic surges are a little different. They act a little darker, a bit more twisted, if you will. Same idea, just different kinds of results. Square away the thing, put it back. I was wondering if wild magic root or stuff that already has Wyldrvir wild magic would become our twisted magic just by spending time here. Answer was yes. They just kind of like, so each time you eat one of those gumballs, you'll get a random wild magic surge, courtesy of our little spooky town.
Lillian is like super impressed and very happy with the level of nerdery that just occurred. And so she sets the bag of candy corn up that she put the gumball in and is now being contaminated by the gumball and says, "It looks like it'll spread to other candies."
Huh. That is interesting. They take one and then they like look at all of the inventory they have. They're just like,
Oh no.
you all should go. I'm gonna have a
Can I get a non-contaminated bag of candy corn? Just as comparative baseline.
They
Before
pass
I
you.
leave?
They pass you one, and they're just like, for a fellow-minded scientist. And this child like spins on their little bar stool and like goes over to their haul of candy.
I put the bag of contaminated candy with the gumball in it in another bag before I put it in my backpack, just to make sure it's good and insulated.
Just to be safe.
Yes.
So, you all kind of make your way out. Beryl, meanwhile, how are you doing?
Yeah, so I'm outside trying to unstick this glob of sugar and sauce and whatever else I guess is possibly in the candy store from the inside of my clothing in an alley.
I mean, if I had picked up on the idea that this happened, I definitely would have probably snuck you a large jar. Because, like, I care about all the people I'm with
Also,
to
I feel
various
like
degrees. So, like,
you have a bag or something in there so food doesn't get on your clothes.
like I would have helped you at some
Yeah,
point
like-
through our journey once we
I
figured
just-
out that this is what
Sure.
was happening.
Because you did
make
say
it
that,
so that-
you ate with us.
Yeah.
And like if you eat something saucy and then all of a sudden it's like leaking through your clothes, I'm gonna be able to figure out what has happened. Like,
That's fair. There would have been an incident
Yeah.
because Bear doesn't want to be rude.
and I would have been like, here, we can size you for a glass
Mhm.
jar, or we can fit you with a big plastic bag, like however you
God.
want to do this.
In Lillian's
Perfect.
book, it's literally dubbed The Incident, and everyone's going to think it was so much worse than it was in like 10 years.
It was just a
It was
glass
just-
of water.
Yeah. But
There
there's
was
just,
water
like-
everywhere.
yeah, but like all of it's just like, we don't talk about the incident. And it's
Don't
always
get Lillian
in
started on
italics.
the incident again.
It's in italics. Yeah.
Okay, so much easier.
Yeah.
Just gonna go duck in the back, pull the jar out of my chest, pull.
It's been specially fashioned so it can like hook into your ribs or something.
Pull the candy out of the jar and then find somewhere, bury it in, cover it in rocks so it doesn't get everywhere in the bag, and then just
Yeah.
save it for some special event.
Perfect. So you see your friends walk out with different candies as you're getting yourself together. And you could all reconvene for a moment and decide what you want to do next. If you want to take those candies somewhere,
I did run out of the store yelling for Beryl to tell him to scare people. If we scare people at doors, we get candy.
We're all supposed to see the lady next door who just woke up. Maybe if we give her a few minutes.
Yeah.
I don't like entertaining guests when I just wake up.
That's true. But Beryl, if we scare people at their doors, they give us free candy.
I've got an idea, and I'm very excited.
Apparently, it's a tradition. We have to test that as well, don't we, Lillian, for science to know if it
Yes.
works?
Scaring people for science. Do you want me to throw rocks or?
We'll do a couple, but
We
if
have to
it's
try different
taken
ways.
badly
Because
and
we
makes
also
it so we don't get candy, then we'll stop.
need to know the fear to candy ratio, like how much fear to candy you'll get.
Okay. So throw rocks until it gets too bad.
Right.
Okay.
Also, I
That
think
is what
your
we
video
call a
froze.
working
I
hypothesis.
think it did too.
Beryl's video froze.
Oh, okay.
It froze very photogenically.
Yeah, like it took me a moment. I thought you were like being very
Very
like
natural
introspective
freeze.
and
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah. It's a very natural freeze, but it is a freeze. I I heard this be said, so I'm very curious. Bryony, do you think you would have had any sort of encounters with a like basically the certified town mage? Do you think magic
Yes.
is something? Yes. Okay.
Because my mom is the fortune teller, so I'm sure that they supply each
Oh.
other with different things.
So you would know that a bit about the witch. You would know about Rhea. I will actually. I hate to do this. I will actually message you this through Zoom message thing. There's a very
secrets.
It's one little thing. It's not. It is not actually that bad.
She eats children,
Oh no.
and you know this. It's an old witch who makes candy. She has to eat children. It's like in the rule book somewhere.
I mean,
Got
I
it.
called out Hansel and Gretel right at the start of a whole thing, so.
So, sorry. Anyway, so you are all deciding whether or not to visit the witch now, or instead to go to knock on some doors first and get some candy for this festival.
I think we decided on the knocking on doors.
Okay, yeah. So
And
there's
Beryl is going to also run a side experiment of throwing rocks at the people.
right.
Well,
So
I think Beryl should be the one who knocks on the door. Like he can knock with a rock.
is Beryl around to do that, or should it be a side test at the moment, or should we wait?
Beryl's around. I think Beryl has audio. Beryl's
Oh.
trying to figure out their video.
Beryl has
Ah.
master visibility.
There we go.
That makes sense. So,
I mean, I'll go knock on the first door.
yeah, okay. So sorry, I just zoned that bit of realization zoned me out for some reason. Anyway, Nessa and Beryl kind of team up. first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As Beryl's like pulling a rock out and getting ready, I'm like, that one. And I'm gonna run towards a door and I'm gonna knock on it like
Yeah.
just like the cop knock, like doof 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 doof.
Bryony, it takes a second for you to realize what door they just banged on. And you like do that thing of like, it's too late. As an older shade woman walks out with like very clearly still in like their morning everything, like their shadow forms looks like it's in like pajamas. For some reason they still put pajamas over their shadow form. They're strange. And they just kind of go like, oh, Bryony? And you're just like, oh, damn it, they're about to prank my mom.
I'm going to yell, ah!
They blink and they're just like,
Candy, please.
oh, right. I was dreadfully scared of that. So they kind of like,
It worked.
they hand you like a king size equivalent of a Snicker bar.
Brownie, Lillian, it worked. Brownie, it worked. Beryl, don't throw the rocky. We got the candy.
Beryl
last
throws
one.
the rock.
I duck.
Just
shadow-
in time.
The shadow like turns into the shadow of a cat and the rock just passed, and then you just hear like something break in the back and it turns back to like the shadow of a human, and they just kind of go like, well, that was probably the cookie jar, but that's fine.
I'm gonna run away. And like run to hide behind Lillian and Brianna.
Oh no.
I am absolutely writing down notes about this whole interaction.
Bryony stands there for a sec, and you guys probably are used to her being pretty like quiet and angry and just like trying to be cool. And she stands there for a sec, and then she just like darts forward and hugs the lady.
They give you a hug too, and
I write this down as a side effect of the whole experiment.
Is that? I thought we were supposed to scare them. Are hugs scary?
Maybe you hug them afterwards.
This is my mom.
the shadow does the like, hello.
Wait, this is your mom?
It's so good to meet you, Brony's mom. I'm gonna like put all my stuff away and go.
They shake their hand. They're just
Yeah.
like, you all seem, you must have been her group of people that they took their journey with. Oh, that's so nice. It's here, come inside. They like immediately want to mom pamper And Bryony, you know how this goes. You will not leave this house for the next 2 days if she gets her way.
They actually have an appointment to go
I'm
see
starting
Rhea.
to walk in.
Oh, we're really sorry about the rock.
Oh, that's okay. It's okay. Stuff breaks in here all the time.
You can have it. It's free.
She just goes like, really? Oh, it must be a very. She just kind of like slides back in, looks at the rock. It's a very cool rock. And then at this point, you see her like kind of like open a window. And Bryony, you know that they tend to be a little scatterbrained. So this rock is now the center point of their focus. They turn and they see Taffy walk out, and they're just going. And they miss a little, clearly on purpose. And Taffy just kind of jumps, looks over, and it's just like, one day, one day. And they're like, and this older, like middle-aged shadow woman is just like, this war will never end, child. And they're just like, the two just kind of like give each other the I'm watching you eyes, and then they just go about their business as if this was a ritual of theirs or some kind.
I would like to throw out the entire game now, and I just want to focus on this rivalry. This game is over. What is going on with Taffy and Brownie and Mom?
Oh my god.
She is on war with a 16-year-old who sells candy and is a little jerk. I need to know what happened.
Is Nessa gonna ask? Because she'll answer. She's an open book.
Yeah.
You're just like, you just want the details, yeah.
What's up with the kid?
Oh, ever since he got that shop, I've just made a point of throwing rocks at him every time he goes to lunch. They go to lunch. Why? I don't know. It's funny.
Lean over to Beryl. Are you guys related?
I don't know.
Rock. Look. Rock throwing used to be far more common. It's less. It's a little more frowned upon these days, but relics of a more comedic age. However, onto very serious business. Would any of you like your fortune told before you have to go on your visit?
How do we say no to that?
That's good.
This is the part where I need to check something.
Hey, did you read your fortune told?
She's just like, I'll make it very fast. Don't worry. I respect that you have your appointments. But if you want to come get dinner here tonight, that'd be very nice. I would love to catch up with all of you.
That's so kind.
They look to Bryony and they're just like, you've been taking good care of them, right?
I don't know any other way to be around people thanks to you, so yeah.
They kind of smile a bit and they're just like, good. I am glad to see that our typical banter can commence, as if nothing has changed. This is one of those things where like your mom knows your attitude, and it's like,
Oh yeah.
rather than be mad about it, it has become like a playful banter building thing,
Well, my mom also knows I'm not a shadow demon, and I'm actually just like a little teenager with like bright pink hair.
Right, exactly.
None of them know that.
Right, yeah. Like you two literally see through each other. Well, that's accurate. She just kind of like casts some magic, and it looks like a cloud of smoke appears around all of you. And in the distance, thunder cracks from somewhere, and you can't tell if that's part of the show or if that was an accident, judging by the fact she does a little bit of a jump at that. But like, it's fine. And then she just goes like, you will have a very important meeting in your future. And then she snaps her fingers and she just goes, it's very easy to fool people in this town.
I roll my eyes.
She just kind of goes like, look, I gotta make a living one way or another.
Yeah, I give a disappointed face.
She just kind of goes like, yeah, no, that's fair. The smoke magic, however, very effective. See, elemental magic, got that in spades. Clairvoyancy, genuine clairvoyancy. Not so much. I don't think anyone does, actually. That might be it.
Bryony does it.
Not well.
The two just kind of like have this awkward, like mother and daughter have the awkward look of like, like, how do we get out of this one? Just the shared look of oh shit. And they're just like, oh yes, of course. Well, it's a passed on thing. You know, I faked it. She maked it. It's how it goes, obviously.
When you said passed on, I would have imagined it was more of a you had it and then you gave it to her.
You know what? I like that one better. Anyway, you do have that meeting you have to get to, but I can prepare the guest rooms for all of you if you all want to stick around for a night.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
Then they just kind of turn to Denks and just go like, question, could you possibly use that magic of yours on something in my house? I have a light bulb that is not working, and I would like it charged so that way I can light up my porch. When you're done with everything, I would very much appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, I can totally take care of that.
She kind of gives you a thumbs up and just like, off you go now. And then she just like, as you all kind of are pushed out of the doorway, and as she's starting to close the door, she like looks down and goes, I'm still in pajamas.
We're off to see the witch now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, after that experiment, time for the witch.
Yep, time to throw rocks at the witch. And
No,
see what happens.
no.
Oh no. As we leave, do you run over to the witch's door now, Beryl?
Yes.
As far as Beryl knows, I think we're still on the rock throwing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
We did
with
not
that,
tell him to stop.
instead of throwing rocks, I want to run over and knock on the door real quick
Mm-hmm.
and just wait, see if anybody answers.
Which door, by the way? I'm sorry. I missed
The witch's
that.
house.
There's when you knock on the door, there's a sound for a moment of like an organ playing in response, and then like something like a lightning bolt. You can't tell if it struck the house or if it came from the house, and then the door like opens with a cold gust of wind. And Bryony, you're probably rolling your eyes at this because you know. But everyone else, you might be a little intimidated by this sudden magical chain reaction to this. And then out walks in pristine green and purple robes a not older than 25-year-old woman. She's got short blue hair and blue and black. Like a greenish bluish cloak and book in one hand. Her hair kind of goes down to maybe like about end of her neck, maybe a little bit further, and it's like a dark like purpley blue, you know. And she just kind of like has a hood over, drops the hood, and just goes like, you're the people who Taffy woke me up about. Huh? Oh shit, Bryony, hi.
I want to pull my head off of my body.
A
Just
trick?
like nothing. Ah,
So real quick, while that's happening, Lillian wanted to lean over to Denks and be like, hey, does lightning normally open doors? And then gets completely lost in whatever the answer might have been because of the head thing completely takes her by surprise.
Yeah, has Beryl ever done that in front of us?
probably at some point.
Okay.
Okay. Still.
Yeah.
That was gonna scream.
That's just Beryl's party trick.
Yeah.
Frozen instead of screaming.
Just not just head, like everything, just like attached on, like detaching and reattaching limbs. It's just like a pastime. You got to dust somewhere high, just detach one arm, put it in the other arm.
Very good.
She was
Definitely
like,
put you in
"Oh."
a bag before.
There's a pause of them realizing why you did this, and they're just like, "Oh, right," and then snaps her fingers and a scream sound effect plays. And she just like totally got me, and she hands you all candy.
Totally.
This is the best town ever.
She kind of then turns towards everyone and just goes like, "So, what brings you here? Taffy doesn't wake me up early for nothing."
Bryony just kind of like glances at her watch and shrugs.
She sees you do that, and they're just like, "So I stay up till 4 a.m. It's fine."
We've all done it. It's okay.
Yes, I'm completely at this point. The only one more nocturnal than me is Cormac over in the lighthouse, but that they might actually be a real vampire, so that might explain some things. She pauses and just goes like, "Anyway, what brings you here?" And you can tell, like, just by how well ornate her clothing is, how like pristine some of the stuff in the house is. This is someone who has a bit, and she is committed and has drilled in. And this like witch thing is this might be her aesthetic and less her job.
We
I
want
wanted to
see.
find out about some of the local animals.
Oh, what specifically? Like any? You would know that they're talking about the bog bellowers and the verdant gators. Those are the two that were mentioned. You could probably just relay
Yes.
that to her, and she just goes like, "Oh, those. Yeah, those tend to come up around here, actually. So you're in the right spot. This is right where the bog is at its strongest. So if you wanted a little meet and greet with some of those critters, I could provide." And she kind of rubs her hands together like, and in the dark light of her house, it looks a bit intimidating.
I glance over at Lillian. You're the researcher.
Yes, I want to meet all the things.
Well, I suppose I can do that. And she kind of like goes to a side room off of this room. Never a good thing to have. And she walks out with a couple vials. And she just goes like, "Well," she pops the cork and goes, "Follow me then." And steps outside to the bog part of the street, if you will. And you all watch as she pours the contents of this vial into the marshland.
What is that?
Oh, well, it's this one was for the bog bellowers, so it has different smells and different things all mixed up into more of a watery concoction, but it smells like their favorite fish. So they're going to rise up to the surface to come and get a taste of non-existent fish, and then they'll see you instead. What you do from there is completely up to you.
I'm
Should
going
we-
to turn to Nessa and be like, you want to try talking to it when it arrives?
Sure. I mean, I probably would talk to it anyway. Yeah.
I'm gonna lean over to Lillian. How long will it take you to draw it?
Oh, I'm going to do a real quick sketch. I've gotten really good at these quick sketches.
Okay. Hey, Tick, set a timer for 1 minute, and then fly behind it.
Do you basically have a Google Home?
Yes.
Every second Tick's head to a metronome inside its machinery. Ever since you gave that command.
Yep.
And
Yep. It's gonna go fly behind the
Yep.
the
this
catfish frog.
As
How-
it,
How deep is the water?
here, it's naturally, you could get fully submerged, but it's not that deep. It's like
Okay,
kiddie
so I
pool.
couldn't like swim around in it.
It's like a kiddie pool. Like you
Okay.
can, but probably not well. You know.
Not worth it then.
Yeah. As this creature starts to come up, it is a bit younger in size, so it's not this full forced big kind of creature. It seems to be rather closer to a tadpole, but it is still pretty cute and probably closer to the size of a cat. And Rhea just goes, "Oh, you got so lucky."
Shit real fast.
Hello. Hello.
and then sit down next close to it to try and get like good
Yeah.
angle on it as I
Mhm.
sketch it out.
So you can roll for the drawing. And do you have communing with fish as an attribute, or is this just passively a thing you do? I forgot.
I took it. It's a
Okay.
thing. I give
Okay,
it.
so roll for it. Roll
It's
for it.
10.
Oh,
Can Beryl also carve, like with the lithomancy, turn one of the stones into like one of these creatures?
sure. Roll for it. And Denks, as your thing is, as your creature is counting down the seconds, and you're observing this catfish thing, you are you're slightly becoming aware of the fact that you are in a place without a lot of electricity and a lot of power, and it's kind of starting to drain away at your creature and your innate magic.
Mm.
So you may want to find something that you can use those jumpers on to get yourself going, because without it, you're kind of starting to dull out a bit. Just when you find something worth a note.
That's gonna be tough in a rural town.
Yeah, but you will find something, I hope. Luckily for you, the witch is
Station.
all. At this point, luckily for you, you would know the witch is basically also part artificer, so you might find something in her stuff.
Yeah.
You all, with a 10 though, you just hear this little creature go, "Oh, hi, how are you?"
Oh, I rolled a 24 to talk to him.
Oh, sorry, 24. You just, "Oh, hi, how are you?"
Doing okay. How are you?
Good, you're good.
It's lovely to meet my friends here. We wanted to like say hi and get to know you because we were not from here. And my friend Lillian, and I'm going to point to Lillian, is she likes to learn about all kinds of things, and she's drawing you, and you are a very beautiful creature.
Yes, mommy tells me so.
Yeah, where is your mommy? Isn't your mommy usually with you? You're very young.
Deeper.
Oh, much deeper. That would make sense.
Mhm. I come over here for the candy.
Oh, yeah, we got a lot of candy. Do you like candy? Hey, they like candy.
This thing's a bottom feeder. It'll literally eat anything.
Do you have any questions? I just wait, hold on. And I'm going to take my jacket off and kind of do a little shiver. And I'm going to be here. And I'll put my jacket on Lillian. Now you try to talk to it.
As you put your jacket on, Lillian, you instantly feel as if that high roll from them has just transferred onto you. And you hear just go like, "Can you hear me now? Hello."
My gosh, this is so cool.
And Nessa, you're kind of like rubbing your hands, just like.
I'm going to ask it an exhaustive list of questions about what it's like to be it, about where it normally lives. Oh, it likes candy. Is there a specific kind of candy? Is candy the only thing it eats? Like, I am now doing a full-fledged interview.
And it'll answer all your questions with the most childlike 8-year-old responses it can.
So good.
Meanwhile, Bryony, Denks, Nessa, and Beryl, while you're doing your interview, we can touch on that in a moment. Rhea just kind of goes, "While you're here, I may as well show you around. You did want to see that train station, right? I did hear that through the grapevine."
Real quick, while Lillian is distracted, I am going to take one of those shadow candy corns.
Yeah. Yep.
And just flick it into the water.
You just the plop sound goes. The witch kind of like Rhea just kind of gives you a look of like not a raised eyebrow of like, "How dare you?" Just like, "Oh, I see you. I respect that," And then the little one just goes like, "Oh, it smells like candy." In the middle of Lillian's interview, there's just like a moment where it might go over there, but you do something else. Eat it first, and out from the water comes.
Oh.
Out from the water comes like a little, like another little creature like the first one, and it just kind of like looks at everyone and has like purple magic coursing through it, and it just screams.
Yeah.
And you all just have to cover your ears. And Bryony, you knew this was gonna come. It's like you know, and the witch just goes like inside everyone now. And
No, I have to draw the way it looks with the screaming happening.
you could stay outside, and she puts like earmuffs on your ears.
Oh, perfect.
And just goes like everyone else inside.
No, Beryl stays too. I'm gonna carve this
Yep.
fish
Yeah.
frog.
I'm staying with Lillian because she's got my jacket.
Yeah, fair.
I
gonna
imagine
go
it
away
gets like all
soon.
puffed up or
Yeah,
something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Bryony and Denks specifically then are led inside into her room. And Denks, glory, this room looks like it's completely electrical. This
Oh,
lady,
yes.
to like power her kettles and everything, she is using electric magic. And it looks like it's functional but not optimal. As in, if you wanted to do something here, you absolutely could.
So, can I use my wild charge to absorb some electricity?
Totally.
That's what I'm gonna do. Oh no. Oh no. I rolled a natural 1 plus 3.
So you just kind of like do the chill hand on thing, like, yeah, I'll just get a top off here. And you feel like it start to flow into you. And it's like, yeah, okay, I'm good. Wait, that was really fast. Oh no. Oh, boom. And suddenly there's just like a beaker breaks in a corner of one of the rooms, and the lights go out, and the witch just goes like, well, that's to be expected on a grid like this one. As in to say, there isn't one. She just kind of like is monologuing her woes of a lack of technology in this town. And Bryony, you feel pretty comfortable in this space. It's, you can see around, you can see pretty clearly. Denks, meanwhile, you are like glowing a bit more than you were before. As like all of this you've just sapped a power line basically completely.
Yeah, you just see blue and purple electricity just coursing all over his skin, and just kind of this little spark like
Yeah.
and his eyes are glowing.
And she just goes like, what a coincidence, is all the witch has to say on the matter. And like she says it in the tone of like, I know, but I also don't really care. She's like, oh, what a coincidence. Whatever shall we do? Let me go see if I can fix this. And she just kind of like steps away, leaving you both in this room with all of her weird experiments. Have fun.
Can I try to make the room brighter?
How so?
Harness the darkness?
You can absolutely do that. Try and like pull it all from one point and just have like
Yeah. That's a 14 plus 7. Okay, that's math. 21.
It all coalesces towards where you are. And getting all that extra darkness energy near you, your shadow just gets like a couple inches taller, as like it has to kind of absorb some of it into itself, But there's a bit of a bright spot in the room now, thankfully. Denks, however,
I'm the bright spot.
yeah.
It's me. I am
The light in
bright
the
spot.
dark.
You're always our bright spot.
It's true, the heart and soul. Denks went from their energy going out and like a little bit around them as light to like a bit more around them with their light.
You said so. There's like technology.
Oh, yeah. So to explain her deal, magic and lamplight is all this dark magic. It's all this twisted magic. Rhea is from the mainland and thus remembers the way magic from over there works and is trying to duplicate it in potions and stuff. So she's trying to make their magic here by reverse engineering what they have. Why is she doing this way? She might just like a challenge. She might just be into doing things in a weird way. Also, what's the fun of casting fireballs from your hand if you can't shake it as a potion first? Don't ask her. So
Just like
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's her deal. But because she remembers all of that kind of magic, this place is powered by someone's attempt at duplicating an event's technology.
okay. So how many attributes can we put onto a roll? Or
Why
is
do
it
you?
typically
It's typically one
just
and one. It's typically one and
Okay.
one, but
Because I just thought of the tech side of Denks's brain will want to upgrade everything. So
Mhm.
I feel like it would be I would look for scraps to invent and see what needs to be upgraded, which is a combination of 3 of my skills of scrap, scavenger, genius inventor, and eye for detail.
Right. Okay. So,
Would that be just 3 separate roles, or would that just be a combination of all 3?
usually it would be 3 separate rules, but one is funny. So I'm going to abide by the rule of funny.
Ah, yes. We love rolling 4 dice at once.
It's pleasing click clack noise.
For the bit.
Yes, and it's metal dice. So.
Oh, the big
Ooh.
pleasing click clack noise.
Appropriate.
Okay. So, we got a 13. So we got a 31.
You instantly get to work, and that bright spot that Bryony made just starts darting around the room while she's away. You just see like remnants of where you were as you move, zipping from spot to spot. Your extra energy making you move and think quicker. You are just tied to that excess energy flowing through you, and you just have to fix everything right now. You are moving at like speeds that maybe might even frighten Bryony a bit. You may have not seen Denks go this hard on something before.
Oh, he's manic. Got it.
And as they're moving from spot to spot, it's like they leave behind where something was kind of working and had some duct tape on it some places. What's when they move away is a pristine top of the line machine. And of course, Rhea builds with a lot of extra stuff tacked on because extra stuff can't be wrong, right? Meaning as you solidify and pristine them, each time extra scraps are just being added to the pile. And soon this makeshift kind of janky room looks like a pristine lab straight out of an Innovan laboratory. And as that passes, the lights come back on and you come back to like pure neutral, back to normal. Your excess energy has been spent, but you are back to yourself.
That was amazing.
That's better.
There's still like a bit of electricity in the air after that.
I'm definitely taking whatever extra scraps and just like kind of just like putting it in my bag.
Yeah.
Just like let me just clean this up. Yep, all right, cool.
Bryony's just fascinated and she's like looking around at everything and like she's still in her little pile of shadows that she pulled together, just kind of like pulls some of the shadows up like a blanket around her shoulders and looks around.
Just like, what is happening? At this point, Rhea steps into the room, looks at everything, looks at you, and for a solid moment just goes like, nice. And then like immediately that compliment to you turns into, I do know how to keep my place pretty shiny. This lady is one of my favorite NPCs for a reason.
I love her.
She just kind of goes like, so anyway, back to what I was talking, and she just starts, we will cut from there for a moment. The other three outside have gotten a lovely, pristine interview with this child bog bellower and its screaming friend, who once calmed down was just like, candy, candy, want more candy, want more candy. And it seems like from the energy of this place that everything here seems to be pretty cool candy.
Definitely got excess candy. I will kind of dole it out in
Mhm.
exchange for like answers, and
Oh yeah.
I'd like them to do less scream but demonstration of the way in which they get the like big blow up happen so that they can make the big sound, and ask them if any of them have like extra scales or something that I can collect, and yeah, just kind of
Yeah.
get
They
a
would
good sample.
you definitely would have gotten all of those things you wanted, extra skills, like demonstrations, etc. Nessa, meanwhile, would you have anything you'd want to do in this little boggy spot? Because I imagine you're like trying desperately to keep this cloak on their back from fading away, just like stay and like maybe doing like hurry it up, hurry it up.
Yeah, I'd probably be like just holding my head, going, "This is real annoying." Like, are you almost done? Like, I probably like stuck my head underwater. It's like, okay, this is fine now.
Can you breathe underwater in that form too?
Yeah, sure, I can.
Okay.
Totally makes sense to me. So Beryl, meanwhile, how did your carving go?
Yeah, 23, 19 plus 4.
Perfect carving. It's great.
It's beautiful, picture perfect carving.
It's great. You all kind of like have this group up and everything, and I think eventually the witch lets the other two out. Bryony, I think if you want to do that thing, now would be the time as they're wrapping up that interview. So we could touch on that. So as you all are talking, Bryony just kind of like shadow slinks off back into their mother's home. Slinking in, your mother just kind of like nods at you, opens the back room, and it's her little store.
I'm gonna peruse and find what I'm looking for,
Yeah.
and I'll come back to the
Yep.
group.
Mm-hmm. As you grab what you were looking for and you come on back, the witch just kind of goes, "Well, is there anything else you all wanted to do tonight before the big fireworks show that a certain someone has been working on all day?"
I mean,
Well-
there's still trains to see, but
Yeah.
fireworks shows are important.
I mean, I don't know how many more hours we have left in today.
Right.
She just kind of goes like, "Well, I could fix that for you." And she grabs one of her little potion bottles and just goes like, "This will either take you exactly where you need to go, or you will be in the water. But that is a sacrifice I am willing to
Oh, wait, hold on. Before you do that,
Okay.
I'm like trying to quickly like give the coat
Yeah.
back. It's like, oh
no,
no.
you can't give the coat back. As soon as you're done, it turns into sea foam.
And
Oh,
it just reforms.
But I lose its
Cool.
powers, so I have to jump back in the water to get the powers back.
You would get it back, but you can't give it again. Until
Yeah,
you get-
that's why I would need to get in the water.
Right.
But she did it too fast.
I don't know. You would be able to jump in before, like, if you say no, wait, she'd be like, "Oh,
No, hold on, wait. And I like just jump in the water and like weirdly try to get deep enough to cover myself.
yep."
I
Yep.
splashed some on you to try and help, like if it needs to be.
Mhm.
You just hear, like as a thank you. Then I jump out of the water.
The Ray is just like yawning off to the side, like, "This is normal." Like trying to play it off, like, "I'm used to this. I've seen everything."
Okay, we're good now. We're good. Got a new jacket.
Right. What was the line again? "Sacrifice I'm willing to make it." Tosses it. And you all just end up like, and Denks, you go from rural town to train station. Peak technology again. Oh, you can breathe a breath of fresh air. It's perfect in here. And Beryl, you go from kind of familiar to, "Oh, this is my house."
Just a big sigh. This is where liches were meant to be.
Welcome to the Grim Station. The Grim Station of the Wyldrvir Metro began the whole mission statement, connecting islands that are not usually connected together with easy transport. This is it just kind of looks like a haunted subway, like always looking creepy. There's always like lights are flickering every couple seconds. It looks like it's like the old abandoned station you don't want to be at, but everyone's just kind of vibing in here like everything's fine. It's clearly for aesthetics, and uh, it looks like a train cart is just kind of starting to make its way in, just and does like those tires screeching, ends in like almost a scream sound as it stops. And as the doors open, you all realize there's like 10 other liches, like with the little hobo sticks just sitting on going, yeah.
Beryl claps out of instinct.
When the
Just a
when the tires do the screech, I
Mhm.
cover my ears and I ask, "Is there another bog bellower down here?"
And this might be the first time you've gathered why Beryl was so excited about this station, as like these 10 skeletons are all clapping and cheering for the train cars to stop. Like, yeah. Like, again.
did they just watch the train all day?
They just ride the train
Just-
all day.
Yeah. Just ride the train all day. It's the most beautiful thing.
Okay, then let's ride it. Let's see what this is all about.
Denks, explain us to trains.
Explain.
Explain us to the trains. Yes.
Cool, thanks, Denks. Thanks, man, buddy.
All right, I was muted.
I just feel like that was a character. I'm just like, okay, fine. Like, I live
so
underwater. I'm from an underwater world. We don't have trains. Sorry, I want to know about technology. Shit.
Trains, they metal beast that takes us to places, and it runs on electricity, and I love it. Or does it not run on electricity? I don't know
it's
how it runs.
electricity. Oh, it's
Okay,
electricity.
cool. Oh.
Yeah, you take a seat and it's like, oh, thank God.
Oh my God.
You like feel the connective like power through this place, and you just
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of tap into it. It's like, yeah.
Definitely Tick is charging.
Yep. Tick kind of like nestles its head in, just kind of spinning its head a little bit, and its head is like doing the owl thing of being like 180 degrees, which you know is the marker for it's 50% charged. Once its head is all the way back around, it's at 100. Anyway, as you all kind of take your seats, there's a stereo sound that just goes like, "Welcome aboard the Grim Station train. This is the one train cart that circles the station and does nothing else." and all of the liches just like, yeah.
Yeah. Beryl claps. You can see he's like, they're like visibly like bobbing up and down, looking around at all the other liches on the train.
They're all like, "Beryl, it's nice to see you again." Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just like, "You got friends." Yeah. And,
Yeah.
it's like, lucky for all of you. This time around, our resident candy mage Taffy will be performing a fireworks display, which you will get to see from all angles as this train cart rides around the surface of Lamplight. And as the train takes off, you like reach out of the under part of it and start getting onto like the land. And even though it's this rustic town, Denks, you're still like, it's the best way you could view a rustic town like this because you still feel tapped in, you know? And you just hear outside a big shout of "whoops," and all of a sudden just like 30 fireworks go off at the same time. And they all just like light up in one spot. It's almost like a flashbang for a second. And all the skeletons are like, yeah. And then they're just like, "Luckily I have more of those." And it just, what follows is you all train carting around as Taffy has this misadventure of doing fireworks in the absolutely wrong way. Like there was music and everything, but it's completely untimed. It is a 16-year-old trying to do a professional fireworks display. It's wild. Thanks. because it is all tied to an electric circuit, you might be able to save the show if you from where you are just by connecting through the power lines of this thing. If you want to roll for that, or if you want to let Kathy suffer, by all means.
They gave me cool candy. I'm gonna help out.
Yeah.
He gave us free drugs. Come on.
So okay. So what would I have? Wild Charge, Tech Savvy. I guess I could have rolled that as well before for more dice. I have Wild Charge, Tech Savvy, and Lightning Magic, and Eye for Detail, which I would think are the skills that probably would be
Yeah, I think
helpful.
Wild Charge might be the best one because you're
Okay.
gonna want to take over their circuits and stuff for the electric stuff.
Okay. Let's go. Wild Charge. That is a 20 in totals, 17 and a 3.
So Taffy's like screaming, "Oh no, wait!" Hands off the buzzer, and they're just like, "Let's see what happens next." As they see you're like kind of touching in with your magic, and this one shot will end on you all in your train cart, looking out from the side. And Lillian's doing their drawings. Bryony's like watching from the window. Their mother might be like waving to them from their car, Nessa watching as well. Maybe like a little concerned of a lack of water in the spot, but like it should end soon, yeah. Beryl with their people and Denks kind of like no one will know, but you've done a good deed, As to fittingly Halloweeny music, there's a fireworks display, and you all get to eat your candy and watch as this train cart goes by Disney style. Yes.
Wait, everybody's eating their candy, and Bryony feels bad, so she's gonna tap Beryl on the shoulder and pass him a little pouch full of pretty shiny rocks that she grabbed from her mom's shop.
Oh, nice. Beryl's little like pinprick glowing eyes just like grow as they look at all of the rocks they can carve or throw at people.
Beryl, you're carving.
There's only two purposes for rocks: to
I feel
carve
like
or throw for science.
we start eating the purple candy first.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Then the train car just explodes with wild magic just all around it. The other scouts are like, yeah. they're an easy to excite bunch.
The
and
liches are very excitable.
Everything's new.
Everything's new. They live on a train. They live on a train. I think that explains it. A train that does nothing but loop in a circle all day. That's their fun. Beryl might be the smart one for getting out a bit more. Anyway, and that is, I think, everything y'all wanted to do. So I think that's the best place to call it for the night. Because we've been at this for like 2 hours. How did we do this for 2? There was no plot. We BS'd around a town for 2 hours.
We
I
had
mean,
so much fun.
There was a plot. There was
a
candy
plot.
attempts and old people.
Yeah.
There was adventuring,
Yes.
Yeah.
and that's the point.
Yeah.
Not every adventuring party fights a giant dragon every single day. Sometimes you just gotta go through town and get candy.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween
Wait, what month
in
is it?
March.
Wait, what month is
Oh,
it?
it's
Dang
Halloween
it.
here.
I'm so backdated. Oh no. Time is an illusion.
What is time?
Look, if there's one holiday we'd want to repeat over and over.
Time is a thing you put on the wall. Oh, wear it on your wrist.
Oh, end the stream now. End the stream. The actual horror part is about to stop. Please.
Now we're going into Call of Cthulhu with our characters.
I'm 100% down. Let's do it.
Yeah, just transition.
I can speak to fish, man. Let's do this.
You might actually be okay in Call of Cthulhu, yeah?
Yeah. Nessa and Call of Cthulhu, they buddies.
Yeah. So, before we go, does anyone have any plugs they want to do? I will go last.
Should we go around the circle?
Yeah.
Let's go reverse order.
Oh, ooh.
Oh, wait, that puts me first. No, I don't like
Yep.
that. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm April. You can find me online at April Raygun, which is listed somewhere around my head. I am the second brain cell to Slady's ATL, where normally on Fridays we play a magical girl campaign where we're all Sailor Scouts. Hunting Shadows. I also played a cyberpunk campaign. Our season finale is actually this Monday, but season 2 is coming. North by Northwest, the second episode's coming out soon. There's a bunch of stuff. Just follow me online. I'm all over the place, usually.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Seth. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at Zealous Nihilist. I don't have a lot of cool stuff going on. I'm a graduate student in anthropology and I study tabletop role-playing games. So if you follow me, you'll get a bunch of links to research projects I'm interested in, or if I get anything published. I'll be presenting at a conference pretty soon, so I'll probably post something up about that.
Awesome. I think next in the stream order is Allison.
Sorry, that's me.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
Um,
I don't know how many of us are actually looking at the stream as well as the Zoom, so
I had it open in a tab and then I couldn't find it because I have a lot of tabs.
that's fine. That's fine.
Hi, I'm Allison. I'm on Twitter as Tarotbull because I'm a terrible person, but it's tarot as in tarot cards, BLE. I'm not currently in any streaming campaigns, but thanks for watching and thanks for donating.
Hi, I'm AJ. You can find me on the 3 T's of social media, TikTok, Twitch, and Twitter as Husha_kid. I'm usually in campaigns with Critical Misses on Twitch, but they are currently on break. I am in another show called Hidden Magics, in which I play a totally normal, non-secretive, normal fighter bugbear. No secrets whatsoever, totally normal.
Right.
Just
I would
normal,
like to roll insight on that.
Mm,
Oh, wait, we don't have that in this game.
you
Damn
don't
it.
have insight. What are you talking about? That is currently airing right now over on Chaotic Creations pod stream. Chaotic Pod, I think, is what it is on Twitch. I am in another campaign on that happens the first Wednesday of every month, called Foul and Friends, in which I play your cool dude bro cleric / warlock. And there will be many more things coming soon over on the Fey Realm. And I feel like I'm in something else, but I don't know what it is. Oh, and then another thing on, I believe it's going to be on the Noir Enigmas channel. I'm playing Star Trek.
Wait, what?
I don't know Star Trek.
Wait, what?
I'm playing Star Trek.
With Noir Enigma, and you don't know Star Trek?
I don't know. I don't know that much Star Trek. I've watched like maybe the newest movies, and
It's cool. Just watch Discovery. You'll learn everything.
so I'm going in blind, and everyone else is like, "Yeah, Star Trek," and I'm just like, "Yeah, I get to play game." And I believe that is all the things that I'm in right now.
Cool. That's a lot. I'm Evie Story on generally any social media platform that I would be on. You can follow me on Twitter. I am over there talking about games and neurodiversity. I run a game-based neurodiversity group sort of thing on Sundays when we can get the technology to work. And the Macs and the Linuxes stop fighting with the Windowses and we can actually play the game. We do that on Sundays. And so once we've got that kind of worked out, we'll be starting that back up. But yeah, other than that, I'm in a lot of servers on Discord. So, and I'm always generally looking to be in a game. I love these. So maybe I'll see people around.
Yeah. And I am B. I do the Wyldrvir podcast that comes out every other Wednesday. I do events like these where I play with other people, and I do a lot of writing. And I also do other stuff, but it's kind of I'm working on things in the secret backgrounds. And then I also have a 5e podcast called The Frostwalkers, which is on a bit of a hiatus right now. But campaign 1 is done, and you can listen to all 57 episodes. There's a reason why we're taking a hiatus. It's because we devoted like a year to that story, and I need a mental break. So go check it out. It's really fun. I will talk to you all later. That's all I got. Think we're good. Bye,
Sweet,
everyone.
wonderful.
Nice.
I don't know if the stream runners are going to turn us off. Let's wait until we.
I'm waving. You can't see, but
I got you. I
Say
got
that,
you.
but I
got
don't
you.
trust you.
We're waving. until
Streamlabs
we-
just decided, hey, what if I just freeze on this exact screen and don't transition over? So that's nice. While you can hear me, thanks, y'all. Yeah, this charity stream has just been incredible, and this whole project has been incredible. We started with a $300 goal. We are currently at $1,520, which is just
Wow.
an
Yay.
incredible amount of money.
nice.
Which is all going to folks and families from marginalized communities. So yeah, those donations are changing people's lives. So yeah, no, thank you so much. Community always blows us away. You gonna catch up now, Streamlabs? You gonna do the thing?
If we are all done, I have to run and eat. so
Yes,
I
you
hate to-
absolutely can.
Bye, all.
Thank you for watching,
Good
y'all.
night.
Take
I-
care.